Alright, interruptions. Okay, this went in there real nice and tight. But if you look closely at it, you'll see that the shoulder sticks way up past the thickness of this plate. So when your throwout bearing goes in here, it doesn't push, it doesn't hold this tight at all. So this is free to wobble all over the place. So you only hit on those two little areas right there is all you're hitting on. And when things wear, they get all screwed up. So this is the stock throwout bearing here. This is the good quality one here. Bender Overcycle makes this one again. Good parts. This isn't the real cheap kit, it's the good kit. Some of these claim they're Torrington bearings, but I don't know if that's true or not. What's nice about this kit is, instead of having a little E-clip that they give you, they actually give you a full snap ring. So it stays on the end of the thing better. So you have two washers, or in and out is the same. That goes on there, and it pushes right on the end of the shaft right here. That's the only area you got to hit against, so make sure that's good, square, and flat. So when you push on this, it works pretty good. Now one thing you can do if you want, you can machine the surface down a little bit so it puts more pressure evenly all the way around. But the problem is it's easy to rattle around in here anyway. And you got clearance on your throwout all the time, so it doesn't really help too much by making it closer. But a lot of times I'll cut that down thinner to have less clearance, but it doesn't make it that big of a difference. So that goes on like that. We have our bearing that goes in there like that. Then you have your second thick washer. And then you have the snap ring that goes on there. Now the little E-clips like to fall off, and these bearings fall off. With a snap ring on there, it doesn't fall off. Okay, so I'm going to put this in my vise and hold it in here. And we're going to put a little bit of goop on this stuff here. And all this stuff spins in here, so you want it to be dry. So, you got chips in there? Where did that come from? That's why I keep lids on there. Something white. Like a piece of plastic or something. I'm not sure what that is. Whatever that is, we don't want that in our stuff. See, that's why you keep a lid on your grease. You don't want contaminants to get in there. I don't know where that contamination came from. I don't like that. Okay, put that in there. Put a good layer of goop on that. Throw your bearing in there. This is a pretty nice tight fit on that bearing, which is nice also. Good layer of grease on that one. Goop it up. The outside is where the fork hits, but it's not too important right now, but it will be. It's not the plastic container breaking up. I don't know what that was. Okay, now we can put our clip on there. Get my little small snap ring pliers. And just spread it out and put it on there. There it goes. Heard it pop on. Spins around there a little bit. And bearings in there. All it takes. Okay. Now, this goes inside your tranny. Like that. Make sure it goes all the way through, no problem. There actually is a bushing inside the main shaft to keep this relatively tight, but that is a relative phrase. It's still pretty damn loose, so it's not like they're really tight. Still got a good 30 thou clearance on both ends, but they're consistent. Okay, see how we're hitting right here on this right now? That's not good. So that means that has to be bent up out of the way. So you see right now we're hitting on that, see? So I'm going to bend it up a little bit out of the way. Put it back down for minimum clearance. 30 thou should be enough. Alright, so like I said, that, when this rotates, the oil catches up on you and drips down and lubricates all these parts. This is sitting down inside the oil here. Now back in the old days, the oil used to be halfway up the main shaft. Nowadays they lower it down a little bit. The oil varies a little bit. And this just goes in there as far as it can go, and then you adjust your clutch. You're in place from there. That's adjusted over here with your clutch. Now before you put this in here, make sure you goop up this, grease up this whole shaft, because oil doesn't get in here very easily. And you want to make sure you got a lot of lubricant in there. And usually I'll stick it in from this side over here too, to make sure there's grease on this side of the shaft. So that way it gets in. Alright, so that's all ready to be done up. So we'll do that right now. Get that out of the way. The lever over here is going to still be put in. Now one thing you want to make sure on your lever is, even if it wasn't broken, it's supposed to be a radiused edge here. See how it's radiused? That way when you work your throwout bearing like this, it rolls across the surface, it pushes it up and down like you're supposed to. If it has a flat spot on it, the clutch works kind of weird, but it also makes the bearing, and it makes the bearing slide one way. It makes the bearing kind of twist like this. It's supposed to go up and down flat, not rotate like that. When you rotate too far, it wants to break the washers off. It'll actually snap off those washers and break them in half if it pushes too hard on the side. So that's one reason why there's some problems out there at times. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some grease on this. So I told you I want to get a little grease on this side. Doesn't hurt to put some grease in there. Poke in the hole. You know, it's not metal to metal anymore. It means you got lube in that damn thing now. See, it's lubed. Wipe off the excess. Come over here, do the same thing. Nice and wet. Good lube all the way down it. Take the excess lube, put some more on there. So make sure you got a good layer all the way down. Just like we want it to be. Alright, go over here, wipe off your excess. On the back side, you don't need it. Well, obviously hanging out the end over here doesn't help you. So there you go. So that's not going to have any problems with that now. We're done with that right now. Get that out of the way. Now we got to deal with this. Oh, I forgot something. We did not fold this lock tab over. So you take a chisel, sharp one, put it right next to the lock in here, push all the way against the ratchet gear, the ratchet piece in the back side there, and hit on it. Okay, and that's going to fold it over. So you can see how you got to fold it over like that right now. Now you take it and hit with a flat punch on top of that and make sure it's all the way down. Right now it's doing its job right now, but I like going down all the way. If you use a chisel to knock it down, you can cut it right off. There you go. So So now the tab is locked down. It's all nice and locked in, nice and flat, just like it's supposed to be. Alright, now we're done with that part. Stick that back in there. I'm good to go. Almost forgot that. Of course, that nut's tight enough, it wouldn't be a problem anyway. Now this one here, we're going to have to get this folded over to get this apart. So figure out we're going to work on this and do that. Alright. Okay, be right back, get a couple tools.